Hey everybody, this is Brandon with Premier Guitar, back again with another pedal for you. Today we're looking at the Wren & Cuff de la Riva. This is a customizable muff, and when I mean customizable, I mean fully customizable. This thing is packed and loaded with dip switches, toggle switches, and your normal three knobs that you would find on any muff traditionally. Those being volume, tone, and distortion. Some muffs do have a sustain knob. But this thing is basically like, no matter what guitar, what amp you're playing, you can have a big muff on your board and customize it to your group setting to sit in the mix just how it needs to sit in the mix. A lot of muffs with that mid scoop, they get lost, and that's part of their charm a lot of times. But having this kind of control is something I think a lot of us have been waiting for. And without further ado, let's jump right in. First thing you might think is, this looks a little familiar, and that's because it's derivative of the old Sans Amp style pedals. The crew at Wren & Cuff were inspired by not having like a digital platform to build your own sound and get lost in menus, so they did the old Sans Amp trick and just put everything on these dip switches. And we've seen that in other companies as of late as well, but this is really cool to have on a muff. So without going, it would take us hours to dive into every single one of these and describe it. So I'm just gonna name them and we'll get back to some sounds. So starting with knobs, volume, tone, distortion. I think we all know what that all does. Transistor select 1, transistor select 2. These will give you the option of choosing a traditional muff silicone style, or something that you don't usually find in muffs, germanium transistor, and you have selection on both sides. Tone bypass will completely bypass all of the tone circuit. And starting left to right, let's just roll through this real fast. There are 5 dip switches here for the tone control, and the handy dandy manual will go over all those for you. Clean gain 2. This one is headroom 2. Third stage depth. The next one is add germanium, and now that's not another transistor, that's a diode. And then we got third stage input, and then working our way left to right on here, we have third stage depth, clean gain, headroom, clipping range, second stage input, second stage depth, gain sweep, lows 2, input lows, and input gain. And I can elaborate really quick on these 3. Input gain is obviously the amount of gain that's getting fed into the circuit initially. Input lows is how much low end you're going to allow to pass through initially, and then lows 2 is how much lows you're going to allow to pass through the remainder of the circuit coming through the output. That being said, there are, I think Wren & Cuff claims there are over 2 million possible combinations of the knobs, switches, and toggles. That's insane, but also amazing to have all on one board, because you can actually get overdrive out of this thing too and make this thing do whatever you want it to do as far as gain is concerned. So let's get into more sounds. This one I opened up with is actually from their suggested preset book called Pumpkins Getting Wasted. So that's why I decided to play a Pumpkins lick. Let's try something else now. I changed quite a few dip switches because in this short amount of time I want to show you the versatility this thing's capable of. I also pulled the distortion down quite a bit. So yeah, I'm going to jump right in. I flip-flopped the transistors on both sides. That's giving of one of the many changes I just made. But here we go. Let's see what it sounds like. I'm going to be on the middle pickup here, and this champ is just a stand so I don't have to bend over. I'm running through a 79 high watt DR504. Alright, so I'm going to just hold a chord now and kind of cruise through the tone and distortion knobs so you can hear the range. I'm going to to start with distortion at the same spot, kind of low. I'm going to do really dark tone and then go all the way bright, and it might get brittle towards the end here. Alright, so I'm going to pull the tone back now, so it's not as sharp, and I'll do the same thing with the distortion. One wrong note, sorry. But that was crank distortion, and that was on the neck pickup there. I just wanted to show you the versatility this thing has as far as range of dirt and EQ. For this next sound, I think we'll do 2 more. For this next one though, I changed everything to a more traditional just triangle muff, and it's mean, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you what I mean. I want to pull the distortion up a little more, and I'll pull the tone back a hair, and I'll go to the bridge, and let's see what that gives us. Darker now. I'll leave the pickup the same for you. All right, let's do one more. So for the final sound, I chose to go with their tall font. I think it's the tall font Russian. This has got the mids flat and crunchy. So let's see what that sounds like. I'm gonna put it on the middle pickup. I believe it's middle and bridge combined, actually, just so you know where I'm coming from. The tone's around 2 o'clock, distortion's right at the middle. So here we go. Alright, same thing. I'll crank the distortion a little more and make it a little brighter because it's getting a little muddy. tone and distortion at noon. That about covers it today for the Wren & Cuff de la Riva. Be sure to pick one of these things up. You're going to spend about 48 hours just maybe getting 20% into it. So enjoy it. It's fun. Muffs are fun. Wren & Cuff, they like muffs. They do it well. You should too. Bye.